Incoming transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. How's everyone doing? Guys, ready to talk some Ahsoka on today's Week in Mando review? What an episode, man. Oh, what, you see this? I know what you guys are thinking. Who's under that helmet? I don't know. Is it a Mandalorian? Bounty hunter looking for the child? For Grogu? We'll find out. Man, I love this helmet so much. Prototype Boba Fett helmet. All right, let me get that out of the way. Ooh, look at that hair. How are you guys doing today? Thanks for being here. It's give me a second. All right, there we go. Oh man, so today, this Mandalorian show, man, it's every week. I can't even explain it sometimes because it's. All right, let's just go ahead. So yeah, today we're talking Mandalorian spoilers for episode chapter 13, The Jedi. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start. Now, you know what? How are you guys doing today? As always, let me see how you guys are doing before we start. I don't know. Should I go with hat or no hat or helmet? Get my Boba Fett hat. I'll go with no hat for right now. All right. So yeah, usually when I've been doing these shows this past few weeks, month and a half or so, I usually do half of it is the review of the latest Mandalorian episode, and then the other half is a look back at some of the Star Wars movies. For this one, I knew all the rumors out there were pointing that this was the episode that Ahsoka was going to show up, and I didn't want to rush it. I know sometimes we spend so much time talking about the Mandalorian, and then I'm rushing to finish and then start with the review of the movies. So I said, no, for this week, we're just doing a review. Let's just talk about The Mandalorian. It's a big one, so we need a whole hour just to focus on Mandalorian. And we'll go ahead and start. I just want to show my helmet real quick because it's awesome. But before I start, let me say hi to a few of you guys out there in the chat this afternoon. Hi, Dale. How you doing, Dale? Happy face? We're all happy today after that episode. Some people not. If you go to Star Wars Twitter, I'm glad I follow the right people. Sometimes you get some stuff on your timeline that you don't want to just get that out of the way. I don't want to deal with it. But I haven't personally seen any of the complaints out there. But I know a lot of people have been posting that some of the fans that watched this episode weren't too happy about it. Some because of the actress portraying Ahsoka. We'll touch on it in a few minutes. And others because they think the portrayal of Ahsoka wasn't on par with the character. I will touch upon those in a few minutes. But for me, I watched this episode a few times, and you know what? Let me say hi to our friend Salacious Rom, the Kowaki Monkey Lizard Army is representing here today. Thanks for being here. Both you and Dale loved the episode, and Dale thought that it was awesome. You know what? Let's go ahead and start. And our old good friend, Mr. Rest, Tony's here. How you doing, Tony? Thanks for joining us. So yeah, let's go ahead and start for this week in Mando review. So yes, today we're only talking about Mandalorian chapter 13, The Jedi. And excuse me, I'm gonna go with my hat. I know I was gonna do a no hat today, but I think my helmet messed up my hat. So give me 1 second. All right, there we go. Bringing the old Boba Fett back. We had the prototype helmet. Now we have the original or the actual Boba Fett up there, but it doesn't matter. So this week in Mando review. So yes, Ahsoka was great, Dale. You're right. Silly non-Star Wars fans, Ahsoka was great. I know, and again, I'm glad I didn't see this personally. Just people reposting it. So if you like this episode, you don't know the character of Ahsoka or vice versa. Or you have to be a Clone Wars fan or a Rebels fan. Dude, just enjoy the episode for what it was. And it was great. Yes, I know. I had a little bit of hat hair, but it's fine. I'm letting my hair grow out a little bit. So We'll see. But let's go on. Let's start with it. So yes, let's do the controversy first. So because we did it last week for Cara Dune, Gina Carano, some of the comments and things she's been saying. So we got that out of the way early on the show. So we'll do the same thing. There's been some stuff out there online. Some people brought up some charges against Rosario Dawson and her family. I think her mom for attacking some transgenders or something to that nature, being verbally aggressive and physically aggressive against them. And that was a big thing a few months ago, but about 2 or 3 weeks ago, most of the charges were dropped, at least towards Rosario Dawson. I think still some to her mom and some of the other family members are still out there. So that's kind of the controversy out there. A lot of people in the LGBTQ community didn't want her portraying Ahsoka. Ahsoka is this fan favorite character these past 12 years. A lot of people resonate with her and her story. So they didn't want an actress with different views or toxic views portraying her. Apparently, again, all this is alleged. I have no inside sources or anything, but that's whatever happens on that end. We're here to talk about the character portrayal and the episode. We're trying to separate the actor from the character. We did it last week, and we'll do it this week. So yes, go Dale, go get your coffee. Don't get your coffee. We're gonna be talking for a little bit, and it's fine. It's done. It's overcooked or whatever. A coffee that spends too much time there, but we'll be fine. And let's say hi to our friend Michael from the Two Met Two Network. He's at work, but he's listening here, so we appreciate you, Michael. And I'm sure, I think you did a long stream yesterday or on Friday when the episode dropped. So if you guys haven't checked it out, go and check it out. I haven't watched it just yet, but we'll see. There's so much videos out there, so much breakdowns, reviews. It's hard to get all of them in before the next episode drops. And again, 7 minutes, we haven't started. So we got that out of the way. So let's talk about the episode. So I've watched the episode now 3 times. 1, 2, 3. The first time I was a little bit, not disappointed, not let down because I did enjoy it quite a while, quite a bit. I gave it about a 7. My brother-in-law called me, or he was talking with my kids, and he brought it up, hey, what do you thought about Ahsoka live action? I said, I gotta sit and ruminate with it for a little bit. I gave it a 7 back then because, like a lot of people, is this Ahsoka? We know Ahsoka from Rebels, most recently from season 7 of the Clone Wars. So I had that vision of Ahsoka in my head, this non-Jedi that didn't want to kill anyone. None of her clone brothers or clone troopers. She didn't want to kill anyone. I'm not going to be the one to kill them. And then we see her here just slashing through all those villagers, all those thugs that we don't know at this point who they are. She's just wrecking shop. So that didn't mesh too well for me at the beginning. Like, no, we just saw Ahsoka not finding another way. There were so many talks about she's the epitome of a Jedi. We don't use the Force for attack, only for defense. She's using it the correct way, not like all the other Jedi did. And then here we see her just wrecking shop. But this is not Ahsoka from the Clone Wars season 7. That's, I can't count right now, 15 years before this. This is Ahsoka of Rebel times. There's a lot of things have happened between the end of Clone Wars, where last we see her in Rebels, before we see the epilogue with her going to get Sabine to go search for Ezra. There's so much from when we saw her in Malachor, after fighting Vader, the war between worlds and all that stuff, that we don't know everything that she's gone through and what she's doing at the moment. So after I got that out of my head, I said, okay, this is not that Ahsoka that we last saw at the beginning of the year in Clone Wars. This is a more mature Ahsoka, has gone through a lot. So let's see the episode again. I watched it last night, last evening, actually about 24 hours ago. It was my second viewing, and I started enjoying it a little bit more. Okay, all that hype, all that not just hype, but my own thoughts, premonitions, or what I thought the episode was going to be, how she was going to be played. A lot of people have said she didn't show any emotions. I did see that before, but then, okay, all that is out of the way. Let me now sit down and enjoy it for what it is. It's an episode of The Mandalorian. Let's go ahead and watch it to see if my views change, and they did completely. Love the episode that second time. Loved it even more the third time when I watched it this morning. There's a lot of nuances to a character that I didn't pick up before that are similar to the Ahsoka and Rebels that we really last seen, at least chronologically. So I enjoyed the episode like 20 times more. Now I rank it up there 9 out of 10, most likely. Still battling for my favorite episode. I still think that episode 11, was it, or 10, the Heiress is still my favorite with Bo-Katan and all the Mandalorians. But this episode is creeping up there. I'll watch it at some point again. But after you get all that hype and all that negativity, all your preconceptions of what Ahsoka is going to look like live action, get that all out of the way, then you'll enjoy it 50%, 100% more. So if you guys have only watched it once or twice and still thinking, this is not the Ahsoka, just get that out of your head. Just sit down and enjoy it for an episode of a Star Wars live action show. And I think you'll enjoy it a lot more. So before we jump into a quick setup of the way we're going to do this review now, we're going to do a quick setup of what the episode was, go through some of the points real quick, and then we'll start touching on some of the characters and more important points of the episode, and we'll go from there. I think we'll enjoy this review a little bit more. So let's go and see what you guys are saying out there. I have my water here for a little bit later. I start getting a little bit thirsty talking to you guys, but it's going to be awesome. So yeah, let me see what's going on up here. So Dale is saying, right, I have a trouble with the Clone Wars Season 7 release after Rebels 2. And I had the same thing. For me, my favorite Ahsoka is the Rebels Ahsoka. I know for a lot of people it's the Clone Wars. That's who they grew up with the character with in that time period. I find myself liking the more adult Ahsoka more, liking the adult Ahsoka more. So when we dropped down then to Clone Wars Season 7, she was this different character. It took me a couple of episodes to get back to it. But by the end, of course, the Siege of Mandalore, you're right there with her. And now we're jumping again 15, 18 years, whatever it is, to a more adult Ahsoka. It takes then a little bit longer to get back to that frame of mind of who she is at this point in her life. So you're also adding there, I think it's possible Ahsoka hasn't gone to get Sabine. Don't jump ahead, Dale. This was going to be one of my latest points. But yes, you're saying that it might be possible that Ahsoka hasn't gone to get Sabine yet. There might have been a huge time jump at the end. I agree 100%. I was wanting to watch that Rebels finale before doing this review just to double check. But since I'm doing my Rebels recap, I just started Season 4 yesterday or the day before. I haven't gotten, obviously, to the end yet. But if I'm not mistaken, by the end of Rebels, there's been a complete change in that planet. The whole city has been rebuilt. It looks a lot nicer, a lot better than the whole time that we were there. So it wasn't done in a couple of months. It has to be a few years from the end of Return of the Jedi to that prologue. I think it has to be a few years. And I think that's where this is happening. So we know Mandalorian is, I believe, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. I think that time period is still there, that works. So we'll touch upon it a little bit later. But thanks, Dale, for ruining my show. Come on, I got to get you up here one day. We'll just co-host one day. But yeah, I do think that. I started seeing some people posting about it also a little bit earlier. So we might not be in the wrong here, Dale. We might have something. All right, so we started the episode with the Razor Crest, or it doesn't start this way, but we'll start this way. Razor Crest finally is not falling apart. It's flying over to Corvus, and we see at the planet there's some fires or something going on down on the planet's surface. He's going to Corvus because that's where Bo-Katan told him that he's going to find a Jedi called Ahsoka Tano. Okay, so I'll go down to Corvus and see what's going on. We see that the planet is all burned up. All the forest, everything is burned to a crisp. Then we see some villagers, what looks like some villagers being under attack. We don't know what's going on. Very similar to episode 3 of season 1 with the Insorgan, I believe is the name of the planet, battling those ragers, those ravagers. So it seemed very similar that someone's getting attacked. And then 20 seconds into the episode, white lightsabers, Ahsoka seers slashing through everyone, like I said. The first reaction is, oh my God, here we go. It's whatever. I started at 8 in the morning, it's 8:01, and Ahsoka's already there. That's something that I said weeks ago, talking about what I love about this show. They don't hide their characters. I know a lot of people have been saying, Ahsoka, she might be either at the end of this episode just for 2 seconds, or she'll be at the end of the season as a cliffhanger for a minute, and that's it. That's the only thing we're going to get with Ahsoka. No, she was front and center in this episode. We saw her right at the beginning, and it's her episode all the way till we get to Baby Yoda, the child, Grogu. Grogu! But yeah, so I love that. I love, like I was saying before, what I love about this episode, they don't hide the importance of the characters or the situations. Baby Yoda, we saw him first episode of the first season. Here you go, Baby Yoda. This is going to be the whole series is going to be this character. Here you go. You have to wait half a season to figure out what's going on. What you need to find Mandalorians? Here you go. Who do you find? Not just whatever Mandalorian. We got Boba Fett's armor in the first episode with Cobb Vanth. Even if that's the only time that Boba Fett shows up, with I don't think. But boom, here he goes. Got that out of the way. We don't have to wait. Oh, you need to find more Mandalorians? Go to this place. And who do we get? Boom, Bo-Katan and two other Mandalorians from Night Owls. Boom, right there. Okay, Ahsoka's coming halfway through the season, 25 seconds into the episode. Boom, here go Ahsoka. White lightsabers, just wrecking shop, doing what a Jedi does when they're pissed. So great. Thanks again to Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau for not doing what a lot of shows do, hide everything. Who's that? Is that really Ahsoka? Because is it really Ahsoka? He's going to find out. Is he going to see another Jedi? Maybe he doesn't find any Jedis. Now here you go, and it's going to be there. It's her episode. So then we see that Ahsoka wants some information from this magistrate, which is leading this or has taken control of this village or this city or this town of Calodan, I think it's what's called, or Calodon. She's taking control. She has some prisoners, and she tells Ahsoka, I'm not going to give you anything. And if you think this information is vital to you, I'm just going to start killing people because they don't mean anything to me. And she's like, I'll give you a day. I'll come back in 24 hours. We have Michael Biehn show. There was another rumor he was going to be here. So great. Unfortunately, we won't be getting him anymore, but it's great to see him there. Then Mando shows up. Djarin shows up. He goes to the magistrate, or he goes to the town first. Hey, I need some information. And people just bounce. They don't want to talk to him. There's trouble. You have some droids coming in. We'll talk about those awesome assassin droids in a second. And then he meets the magistrate, and she tells him, hey, I have a problem. I have a Jedi out there. I need you to kill her. I'll give you this Beskar staff. And he's like, great. You just did my job for me because I'm looking for a Jedi. I'm not killing her, but thanks for telling me where to find one. He goes to find Ahsoka. They have a standoff. Great action scene. We'll talk also in a few minutes. They make a deal. Hey, I need you to train this child. He has powers. Oh, you mean the Force? Oh, if that's his powers. But I need you, as always, if Mandalorian wants you to do something for him, he has to do something for you first. It won't be easy for you then. Help me take care of this place, and then we'll figure something out to do with Baby Yoda. We'll change his name in a minute once we get there. And then they go to the settlement, do this double cross, basically, that they're working together and take care of business. That's the whole of the episode. All in all, it's a great episode. It's like she said, like Ahsoka said, like the description of this episode says, I like first, good or bad, they're always memorable. This episode, good or bad, is going to be memorable. It's something that Star Wars fans are going to be talking for years to come. This is as important as any of the movies that has come out before. I'm not saying that it's better. I'm not saying that it's worse. That it expands canon or legends or the mythology. It does a lot of it. But this episode, what it means in terms of the whole scope of Star Wars, is as important as any of the movies that we've seen or any of the shows, because of what Ahsoka means. We've had Bo-Katan and Saw Gerrera make the jump from animation to live action. We've had Cobb Vanth go from a novel, from publishing side to live action. First time we have a main character that we've grown for 12 years. Bo-Katan, she was in a few episodes of Clone Wars, a few episodes of Rebels. Great, we love her. She wasn't as established. Saw Gerrera was a younger self in Clone Wars. Then he showed up in Catalyst and in Rogue One 20, 30 years later. or even more, like 40 or 50. And then we have, so I'm not that old, 20 years later. And then he showed up in Rebels, kind of back and forth. But this is the first time that a character that was introduced to lead a show in 2008 with the Clone Wars movie and then the Clone Wars TV show. A whole generation of Star Wars fans grows up with this character for 12 years and now makes the jump to live action. That's as important as a bigger step in Star Wars history as can be out there. And I think that in itself can be taken for granted. So yeah, and there were, like I said, a lot of firsts in this episode. We'll go through them. You'll see me say first time we see this, but let's start first time we see Ahsoka in live action. We've been waiting for this for years. A lot of people thought that we were going to see her in the sequel trilogy, that maybe she's with Luke doing this new Jedi Temple and all that back in 2014 when all the rumors about what was going to happen with the sequel trilogy. So Ahsoka going to be there. She wasn't mentioned. Is she alive? All that stuff. Then we got Rebels, and now we have her here in The Mandalorian. What's that going to mean for the character moving forward? And we'll talk about it at the end. Get on some of those theories out there and theorizing in hyperspace, hypothesizing in hyperspace, like we have to see here. So homages. We know that Star Wars is built on homages of Westerns, Akira Kurosawa, Seven Samurais, all those samurai movies, Japanese movies. We know that George Lucas took everything from there, the serials and all that stuff, to make Star Wars. So, but this episode, it's there. You don't need to be a film major. I haven't seen any of those movies. I know, because if you follow Star Wars, this gets brought up every time a new movie comes out. They make, oh, which movies did you watch? To get in the mindset to write the script, they always go to those older Japanese movies, Western movies, samurai movies. But in this episode, it's front and center, and it's great. It's the design of the village you can see there. All the standoffs that there are between Michael Bihn's character, Lang, and Din Djarin. That's there. It's great. The music cues, it's everywhere. The theme, the whole theme of the episode is this Japanese samurai movie. The way Ahsoka moves through, used to be one of my critiques the first time I saw the episode, is why is she fighting, lighting her sabers, cutting a few people down, and then running away, and then lighting her sabers, cutting another guy out, running away. Again, you're a Jedi, just go through them. That's not this episode. This is a full-on samurai movie, ninja movie. Move through the shadows, do as much damage as you can with being detected as little as possible. So she turns lightsabers on, cuts one guy, runs away, comes back to the corner, cuts another guy, runs away. It's mostly, you can see this really when they go into the village at the end of the episode, and it's done beautifully. Baz Adin, I think is the name of the cinematographer, the director of photography. He's been doing most of the series so far, and this episode is one of the most beautiful shot episode. The framing of some of the shots we're gonna be talking a few minutes is awesome. I love the way that the areas look with all the Mandalorians flying and all that stuff. But this episode is stunning. I know it's dark, it's dusky, sand, dust, whatever, smoke, fog, and everything. But it was great. This episode was beautiful to look at. Right. So Michael Biehn, I talked about him before. There was a couple of rumors. We know him from Terminator. It's where I know him from Aliens also. And we heard he was going to be in the show. A lot of people, he's going to be either a Mandalorian or a gun for hire, some sort of mercenary. And that's basically what he is. So he's working for the Magistrate, leading this army that she has in this village. So again, he's just there for one episode. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing more of him because he does get killed at the end of this episode in a great standoff. I love what he tells Mando when they're facing off, and he says, "Oh, we're not too different. I don't have an issue with you. We're not too different. We do what we need to survive, or we're on the right side. We're on the side that we need to survive," or something like that. And he's like, "Well, this isn't it." Like he knows that what he's doing is not the right thing to do. But anyway, it's a paycheck or whatever. But again, he does pull his gun on Din Djarin and he gets shot down. But his portrayal was pretty good. Well, let's go talk about the Magistrate. which is her name. Her actual name is Morgan Elsbeth, and she's played by Dania Lee Inosanto. Great portrayal, great character, great design. You can see her there. You can see her droids in the back. Let me talk about those droids real quick. So those droids and the staff that she has this pure Beskar staff, 8 foot tall or whatever. And those droids in the back, let me put it up a little bit bigger again so you guys can see them. So I thought of Captain Phasma immediately, not just because of this staff, which is very similar to the staff that Captain Phasma has in The Last Jedi, but those droids also, apart from being all silver, or most of it, and I know they're based off of Ralph McQuarrie design from years ago, but they do have that black robe with a red sash on the end. So very Captain Phasma-like. I don't know if it's deliberate, is it just something that I saw? I think someone else posted it on Twitter a few hours ago, or if this is going to come back. We know that there's inching a little bit closer and closer to the sequel trilogy. I wonder if that's going to be related to Captain Phasma, the First Order, for by any chance. All right, so I'm taking my first water break. So if you guys will indulge me for a minute. So yeah, Michael, like you were saying, let's talk about Bruce Lee. So Dania Lee Inosanto, I believe, is the goddaughter of Bruce Lee. I didn't know this. A lot of people were posting it, and you can see it because she does. She's also a martial artist, stunt actress, and you can see all that. She probably did most of her own stunts. You can see her fighting style was awesome. The way she handled the bow staff was great. So yes, it's great to keep. Again, every time you mention Bruce Lee, everyone's going to be hyped up. So it's good to know that she has some connection to the master. All right, so what else about the Magistrate? So we learned from Ahsoka that her people were killed during the Clone Wars. She joined the Empire and helped build the Imperial Starfleet. And apparently she's still doing it. She's going planet to planet, plundering the planet, taking all the resources. We know this is what the Empire does. This is what they did for the Death Star, what they did for Starkiller Base. We saw in Rogue One when they destroy Jedi. What Vader tells no one's gonna know that we have this weapon. It's gonna be that this was a mining disaster, and that's the excuse that they use for every time they're taking stuff from the planets. A lot of times it's a mining accident. Don't worry about it. So again, now we have our first, if I'm not mistaken, not first, but because we, of course, A New Hope mentions the Clone Wars, but since the Clone Wars movies and all that stuff, the first time we've heard the Clone Wars mentioned, we heard that she was, not her, we'll talk about Baby Yoda, I mean, about Coruscant, another great first time we haven't heard this in a while. But, and I love her little sanctuary. We get introduced to this village. It's all, like I said, everything's burned up. Everyone's hiding in their house. We have all the droids and all the army that she has. Had those imperial plaques or imperial whatever here, all those blue and red things, so you know something is going on. And then you go through the doors and everything's serene. She has her green trees, her little pond lake there. I was waiting for some fish or something to come over. So that duality of course everyone's suffering over there, but then I have this promised land behind these two doors, this high wall that I have back here. Everything's fine, everything's serene. Come talk to me. I'm feeding my fish. I have my two droids back there. So everything's fine. So I love that, the way that it looked. And also, like I said, this episode was so beautifully shot. Some of my favorite shots, and the first one is going to be here. I'm going to show you guys when Mando goes to meet with the Magistrate, with Morgan Elsbeth the first time. The way they frame some shots every time, that it's a sort of standoff. Someone in the foreground, the other character in the background, they're talking to each other face to face, but at a distance, are just beautiful. So I don't know what this, here we go. So this shot is another example of the greatness that was the cinematography in this episode. I love this shot. There's another one later in the episode when Ahsoka confronts her. Frame very similar. The same thing with Lang and Mando when they had their standoff. This is just a great shot. And again, another reason to love this episode. I don't know why so many people complain about it. But again, everyone, to each his own. Everyone's, if your opinion is valid, and we'll leave it at that. We won't. If you didn't like the episode for whatever reason, that's fine. We'll talk about it, and then, but let the people that liked it or love it enjoy it. That's all that we say. And talking about enjoying, I enjoy your guys' company. And one person that I always enjoy having here is our friend Kat, Vader Girl 28. Hey everyone, how you doing, Kat? Thanks for joining us on Radio Rebellion today. Talking about this great episode, that Jedi. You ever thought it was gonna happen? One of the greatest things about Mandalorian when it started was okay. It's totally different from Star Wars, but it still feels like Star Wars. We don't have to worry about the Jedi or the Sith or this great galactic battle. But it keeps moving and moving, and now we have an episode called The Jedi with Ahsoka Tano, two white lightsabers. We have a child that was brought up in the Jedi Temple, and now we're getting all this history of the Jedi and the mythology of the Jedi and the Force and all that, making it into the show in a very grounded way. It's awesome. So come on, it's too much. I gotta keep going because I get distracted by all the awesomeness out there in this episode and just this series in general. So yeah, and we heard the Clone Wars mentioned. We also heard Coruscant, which were first in the way that we haven't really heard them obviously in live action since the Clone Wars, since Revenge of the Sith. We haven't heard any of it. There wasn't any mention of Coruscant or the Clone Wars, I believe, during the sequel trilogy. So it's great to get that reference. Brings it back to the prequel trilogy, which is great, and people are starting to, these past 5 years, have really resonated and gone back to it. We have a great battle in the village between Ahsoka, Djarin, and then the Magistrates army. We have Ahsoka wrecking shop. I love that one of the things when she went the first time, she's talking to everyone behind this wall. It's like, you're a Jedi, just jump over it. But she goes, I'll give you 24 hours. When she comes back, she jumps that wall like nobody's business, slashes that bell with the guy through it, jumps down and cuts through everyone. It's a great action scene. Like I mentioned, she just attacking and dashing, get out of the way. Then she comes back behind you, kills you, runs over the scene. Again, very samurai, very ninja movie, which is what this episode was about. And then we have the Magistrate. She tells her droids, or her two guys, because she sent the assassin droids with Lang to deal with Ahsoka. Hey, just kill all the prisoners that we have here. Mando comes in, drop kicks one of them, shoots the other one. Then the droid comes behind him, turns around, shoots the droid down. So it's a great action scene. Like I mentioned, the way I love the framing of a lot of the scenes in this episode. I just show you one when Mando goes to talk to the Magistrate. Another one when Din Djarin and Lang are facing off. It's a very Western. You have all the shots of Mando going for his blaster. He doesn't use it till the end. I think that's gonna come back at some point, hopefully at the end of this season, with something we're gonna be talking about at the end. And then Ahsoka with the Magistrate also is another great scene. The way that it's framed, I got one more. You know what? I'm gonna do it now. I had something else here, but I'm gonna show you guys this. And this is not the best one. I found a better image earlier, but this is not the one here. But this is my favorite shot in the whole episode. And it's when Ahsoka is holding Grogu. At this point, I think we know, or we're about to learn that his name is Grogu, Baby Yoda, the child. This shot is framed perfectly. It's my favorite shot in the whole series so far. This, like I posted this on Twitter a few hours ago, and I said, I'm not a religious person, but this, as soon as I saw it, this was the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus for some reason. I know the mythology in Star Wars and Christianity and religion and all the different religions out there, it's valid, especially with the Jedi, the Force, and all that. To me, this was just that. Even the moon behind it seemed like a halo, the way she's holding Baby Yoda, looking down at him, seemed very protective. And we can see this great Jedi that Ahsoka has become now with what could be considered the heir of the Jedi on baby Grogu. To me, that was awesome. This shot was everything. It's my favorite shot in all of The Mandalorian. And who knows, this is going to be up there as one of my favorite shots in all of Star Wars, not just because of the way that it's framed, the way it looks, but the meaning behind this shot. And of course, we all know that we're going to get another season of the directors roundtable after this season is over. I can't wait for the director talk when Dave Filoni goes through this episode. I know this, I'm calling it now, it's going to be the favorite, everyone's favorite one. I hope that they make a mention of this shot and the meaning behind it. Although I know he likes to leave things for people to mull over and make their own kind of decisions about it. But this was just it. That shot is just so awesome. It's my favorite one. Like I said, favorite one of the series. Maybe. I mean, whoop, I went too far. All right, so also we have, like I said, we have Ahsoka fighting the Magistrate. It's a great scene for a lot of reasons that we mentioned already. Just two characters going at it. But we have two powerful, very skilled female characters going at it one-on-one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe, again, this is the first, like we said before, Ahsoka said it, I love first, good or bad, they're memorable. I think this is the first time that we have two female characters in live action fighting like this, where the stakes are high. We haven't seen anything like this. We've had a lot of great female characters in Star Wars, female leads in Star Wars. We haven't seen two female characters go at it like they did here in live action. And it should be commended. Again, with Rosario Dawson, I don't know who was her stunt double for this scene, plus Dania Di Inosanto playing Morgan Elsbeth, and her stunt double did a great job, and I think it needs to be commended for what they did. I love how the battle started. They both removed their robes. Very Jedi-like. We've seen Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn all remove their robes before a big fight. We've seen the Sith do this. So it's great to see that parallel there. We saw Ahsoka with her reverse grip that we were waiting for it. Again, another great first for live action. And here we go. Where is your master? This is what Ahsoka wants to know. The reason she's at the village. She wants to know, where is the Magistrate master? At this point, she's talking about Moff Gideon, right? That's the big bad of the show is Moff Gideon. Everything has been going to Moff Gideon. Why is she looking for Moff Gideon? Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? Throw everything out the window. What the hell just happened? This is the greatest thing ever. Who knew about it? My daughter, I was watching this with my family. My daughter, who's been watching Rebels with me, knows who Thrawn is. She gasped more than so she took it. Get to Thrawn. We're gonna say Grand Admiral Thrawn. So again, that threw me for a loop, threw everyone for a loop. I know months and months ago there were rumors that they were casting for Thrawn and Ezra, maybe for their own series, but that was one thing probably 5 months ago. No one expected them to show up, not even a mention. So hearing Ahsoka said, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" Again, took this episode to another level. From where my first watch, when I wasn't too much into the episode, my favorite thing was what it was setting up, because there were a lot of things that were set up in this episode. After my second or third viewing, then everything melded together to make it a great episode. Second favorite of the season so far, creeping up there with the heiress. But the mention of Grand Admiral Thrawn, what that means, and let's go here, Dale. We mentioned at the beginning, does this episode of The Mandalorian happen before or after the epilogue of Rebels? We know if you watch again, I'm gonna put it out there right now. If you don't watch Rebels or Clone Wars, that's fine. You don't need to be a consumer of everything Star Wars to enjoy the shows, the books, the movies. So now a lot of people are, do I need to go and watch Rebels? Do I need to go and watch Clone Wars? Yes, it helps. You don't need to know all the backstory to enjoy the episode and the series. We didn't know who the Emperor was when he was mentioning the original trilogy. We didn't know what the Clone Wars was. We didn't know about the Kessel Run. We made our own stories, what everything meant, and then the pieces start falling together. We enjoyed it back then. So people that are growing with The Mandalorian, they can still enjoy it, and if they want, they can go back and watch it. But we can't, what's the word, gate people out of it. So fan gate or whatever. If you know what it is, great. If you don't worry, come on the journey with us. But for us that know all this backstory here, what's going on, it keeps those gears turning. So the first thought is, okay, this is after the Rebels epilogue because chronologically it seems that way. Like I mentioned, like Dale mentioned, I don't think, before I go into it, I'm going to take a quick break. So yeah, let me take a drink of water. We'll talk about your chat there, Dale, in a minute. So Dale says, driving me crazy not talking about this stuff and some other things because I know Alberto is going to want to talk about it later. You know it, Dale. We're here. We're in the same wavelength. Just mention it. I'll skip your comments till we get to it. So if you want to talk about this stuff, we'll talk about this stuff again. But yes, talking about Rebels. So my first thought was Ahsoka in Rebels, that epilogue, she's dressed in white. Not dressed in white, but she has her white robe. Clone Wars Season 7, she has her gray robe. Mandalorian Chapter 13, she has her gray robes. So we know it's closer in terms of her appearance to Clone Wars. It's not Ahsoka the White like we were all calling her back then. And this has been debunked already, but her Leiku, her Montrolls weren't as long as we saw them at the end of Rebels. We learn now that that's because they didn't work live action. People that worked on this show said we thought about making them longer. They didn't work for the stunt actress making all the jumps and stuff. So they were make shorter just so they look better on screen. Totally the right answer. I know a lot of people were complaining she doesn't look like the Rebels character. Again, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 100% the same look that we saw. Animation is gonna be different. The way they move is different, which was one of the issues I had the first time that I saw it. All that goes away. But yes, what makes sense is that while Sabine is still on Lothal doing that rebuilding of the planet and the city, Ahsoka's looking for information to get to Ezra, right? Before going to get Sabine. So all this is happening at the same time in separate parts of the universe. Sabine is dealing with Lothal and do what she needs to do over there. Ahsoka is looking for information on Thrawn and Ezra. How does the Magistrate have information of where Thrawn is if he was taken by the space whales to the unknown regions? We think to the unknown regions. How does she know? We don't know. Again, it's been 5 or 6 years since that happened. Maybe there's been some communication back, and then the Magistrate knows where Thrawn is. Ahsoka gets this information from her. Okay, let me go get Sabine. I have a lead on Thrawn. Boom, let's go. We'll talk about what this means moving forward at the end of the episode. Is Thrawn and Moff Gideon working together? Thrawn, he's working, again, spoilers if you haven't read the Thrawn novels, but he's working for the Chiefs and the Empire at the same time. He's with the Chiefs Ascendancy to get as much information about how the Empire works in case the Empire goes to the unknown regions. But his loyalty, we still think, is with the Chiefs Ascendancy, not with the Empire. Moff Gideon is 100% an Empire guy. Long live the Empire. Are they working together? Are they separate? And is there going to be a conflict coming on? We'll see. That's going to be interesting to see. I don't think any of that is going to happen this season. Maybe going forward. We got a few Lothcats coming again. It's Dave Filoni. We got Lothcats season 1. We have some Lothcats now again. Just look, a Lothcat. I know what that is. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this episode, the Mandalorian's armor, Din Djarin's armor, wasn't as shiny as we're used to. It's this new Beskar that he has. It's extremely shiny. Everything reflects out of it. On this episode, it was muted down, and you can say it's the way the episode was shot. A lot of it is dark, dusk and dawn. There's a lot of gloom in the episode, so maybe that's the reflection from it. But it looked a lot more muted down, a lot darker colors, more brown. It reminded me a lot of his first armor from the first 2 episodes of the series to what we're used to now. So I doubt that means anything, but I love seeing that he wasn't as shiny as we've seen him before. He's more dimmed down now. Might be because the armor has taken a beating. Maybe it needs a little polish. But I did enjoy seeing his armor a little bit different. Sorry, I'm moving my notes a little. I took a lot of notes. I didn't think I was going to, but so much to talk about this episode. I'm glad we're only talking about the episode and nothing else going on about, because the next movie we're going to be reviewing is Empire Strikes Back. That's going to take a while. We'll do that next week with the next episode of The Mandalorian. But let's finish our talk with the most important thing, and it's some of our favorite characters. But before we go through that, if you're watching this live on the chat now, thank you guys as always. Dale, Mr. Rez, Michael, Kat, thank you for watching this. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're watching this later on the replay, later tonight, tomorrow, in a week, 2 weeks from now, next year, it doesn't matter. Also, hit that like button if you liked it. If you didn't like it, just move along. Move along. You can leave a comment. It doesn't matter. We'll take anything. Leave a comment down below. Also, let us know what you thought about the episode, what you thought about Ahsoka, the cinematography of the episode, the music, everything. Just leave us a comment down below. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast when it drops on Monday or later on in the week, now that we have all the holiday time coming, make sure to leave us a rate and review. Also, subscribe to us or follow us on Twitter at Radio Rebel Pod and all those fine places. And I forgot to say, I'm so sorry, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Christmas is right around the corner, but happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hopefully everyone stays safe. So their families are either in person, video chat, on the phone, through a window. We need that connection, even if it's not in person. We talk to our family members on the phone, do a lot of video chats. We do need that out there. So hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. From us here at Radio Rebel, I want to thank all of you guys here in the chat, everyone that's going to be watching this later, listening to this on the podcast, following us on Twitter, Instagram. Anyone that has ever liked a single silly comment that I've made, I thank you guys a lot, not just Thanksgiving, but for the whole year, because we're coming up to the end of the year. 2020 has been a wild ride for everyone, but thank you guys. I hope you guys did well this past Thursday. That turkey coma has gone out of the way, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't do anything on Friday. I know a lot of other podcasters, YouTubers out there went right on Friday to make their videos. Dude, I was, and I didn't eat that much on Thursday, but I don't know. Friday, I was laid down. I watched the episode twice, but I couldn't get up to do a video. So everyone that did everything yesterday, you did great. So yeah, Dale is saying that I think the main conflict is the competition for the favor of Palpatine if Thrawn is still aligned with the Empire. That's a great way to think about it. We know that Thrawn wants to be there. He had that conflict in his first books. So yeah, who knows? Are you cutting out short? I didn't hear you talk about this stuff. How he'll have to use it against Moff Gideon. That'll be cool. I do think that. So let me read this again if you guys didn't get this. So Dale is saying, are you cutting it short? I didn't hear you talk about this stuff. How he'll have to use it against Moff Gideon. So yeah, it's Dale. I know you wanted to talk about this stuff. I didn't hit on this point. So at the end of the episode, Ahsoka does give the staff, this Beskar staff, to Djarin. I love when he just hit it on his arm brace and just ding, and that's another great scene. I'm guessing we've known at this. Oh, here it goes. You got it now. I got it. I think we got it there. Yes, here you go, Michael. You just read my mind, and I read yours. Yes. So we know that Giancarlo Esposito has said that he has a great lightsaber battle in this season. I've always said it has to be against, I guess, Bo-Katan, right? Bo-Katan is the one that wants the dark saber. It should be with her. It can be Ahsoka. I've always said Ahsoka will just wipe the floor with Moff Gideon on a lightsaber fight. It can be with her. Now it makes sense. We just saw in this episode that lightsaber doesn't cut through Beskar. Beskar reflects lightsabers. So here we go. Now Mando, Din Djarin, has a weapon that he can fight against Moff Gideon and the Darksaber. Yes. You saw it, Dale. You finished it, Michael. You guys helped me get there. I do think that this is going to be Din Djarin with this Beskar staff, similar to Captain Phasma, like we mentioned before, fighting Moff Gideon with this Darksaber, and it's going to be epic. So, yes, thank you, guys. Thank you, Dale, for prodding there and getting that out of me. Thank you. Again, if you guys in the comments, let us know what you think about this. Do you think it's going to be something else? But, all right, so we're halfway through this, and let's go to the important, not important thing, but what we're here to talk, and it's Ahsoka Tano. Let's talk about Ahsoka Tano. And before we get to Ahsoka Tano, our friend Mando had to go searching for her, and this was another great shot with our friend the Morai up there. You can see the little owl in the top left corner. Another great shot. Looked like a old Disney movie going through the enchanted forest, the forbidden forest, trying to get something. So again, another beautiful shot. The way it's framed, the lighting, everything about this shot is beautiful. And I'm sure everyone saw Morai in the little corner over there. Whew, man, I'm getting out of breath. This so much, so great, everything here. So Ahsoka Tano, like I said at the beginning, I had my issues the first time I saw the episode. It didn't fit with my recollection of what Ahsoka was the last time I saw her. And then I made the jump. No, this is not the Ahsoka from Clone Wars Season 7. This is the years after we last saw her in Rebels before that epilogue. So yes, now the character makes sense. Her movements didn't make sense. Like I said, why is she just attacking one person then running away? You're a Jedi, just go through it. No, this is an homage to all those samurai movies. Do a strike, get out of the way, less casualties as possible on the other side, come back the other side from the other corner, take care of business, go in hiding, jump over the roofs, run through the rooftops. So yes, it makes sense afterwards. And after the second and third viewing, I was all in on the portrayal and the episode. Like I said before, 20 seconds in, we get, this wasn't at that point, but another great shot when she opens up her two lightsabers and just goes through a couple of them. I talked about that one already. Sorry, I messed it up. We're live, people. It doesn't matter. So, like I said, we have Morai when Din goes looking for her. She's in the village looking for information about where Thrawn is. That's why she needs the Magistrate. Okay, so let's talk about Ahsoka versus Din Djarin. So Din finds her. He hears a noise. Oh, don't worry, just those weird little creatures walking by. No, it's not. And then she comes in, double lightsabers, and just bangs his Beskar forearm brace. He breaks them off, and then, as always, when he's in trouble, get that flamethrower growing. She does a backflip, throws her cape out of the way. He uses his rope or whatever, wraps it around her. And then I love what she did. You think you got me? No, I'm just gonna jump all over this tree and bring you up. He cuts himself down. Then he's freaking out. No, Ahsoka Tano, I'm here. Bo-Katan sent me. Don't kill me. He wasn't gonna last long. So a great fight, a very quick fight. I need to talk to you about something. And she goes, oh, I hope it's about him. I hope you're here to talk about him, or it's about it, regarding him or something of that nature. Who is she talking about? Our little friend, Baby Yoda, who's not Baby Yoda anymore. It's Grogu. Baby Grogu. Oh, man, we'll talk about Baby Grogu in a minute. So, you know what? Let's talk about Grogu now. So this is another first. Baby Yoda's name, something that I thought we would never get, at least not on season 2. Maybe by the end of the series, I thought we might hear about Baby Yoda's name or the child's name. Again, this show, if they want to tell you something, they won't make you wait any longer than you need to. So Mando asks, oh, can you understand it? In a way, we connect through the Force. Love, again, I love the Force. My favorite part about Star Wars, we got a little bit of Force talking here. Yeah, we understand a little bit through our connection in the Force. Grogu said, wait, Grogu, that's his name? Yes. Again, Grogu took me a little bit. Are we going to still call him Grogu, Baby Yoda, the child? I see Tony, Mr. Red saying he's always going to be Baby Yoda. I'm thinking of everyone that has a Baby Yoda shirt or something made up that says Baby Yoda, go burn it. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't know the child. Everything that Lucasfilm sold us called the child. Burn it down. Everything's Grogu now. Rest. Get on it, Tony. Get on that Grogu train. It's a little weird, but which Star Wars name isn't, right? We all, Kylo Ren, Captain Phasma, Finn, Poe Dameron, Han Solo, Yoda, Jabba the Hutt. All these names are weird till after months saying them, they'll be second nature. So we're here for Grogu. We'll try to say Grogu. We'll probably say Baby Yoda a lot of times. But what did we learn? We learned his name, like we said, and they had been taught before. Is it a boy or a girl, male or female? She said it's his name. So officially, we know it's a male of the species. They understand each other through the Force, and here's when we go into a lot of deep Star Wars lore. He was raised on the Jedi Temple of Coruscant. He was hidden during the rise of the Empire at the end of the Clone Wars, Order 66. He was trained by a lot of Jedi masters. Who trained him? And that's a great question, because he didn't have one master. He was a Padawan. He was trained by a lot of Jedi masters. At the time of the Clone Wars, before the Clone Wars, he's the same age as Anakin, more or less. So he might be about 8 or 9 years old at this point when even older. Sorry, it's same age as Luke Skywalker, I think. So he might not be that old, 2 or 3 years. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at, I'm not good with that timeline in Star Wars when I'm on the spot. Did Qui-Gon ever train him, or for a day or so? Did Kenobi had a hand on it? Yoda, did Anakin ever train this little Grogu? Is there going to be a connection to this in the Kenobi series? Are we going to see a flashback to the times before the end of the prequel trilogy, before Revenge of the Sith, where we have Anakin or someone training little Grogu? Even if it's on the background, you see a baby Yoda in the background, you know that's Grogu. And come on, give us that connection, even for a little, like Chopper in Rogue One. Just show us a little Grogu walking with another master that we love, maybe Mace Windu, and then he sees Ahsoka. You're not a Jedi, you're a citizen. Mace Windu told me not to trust you, citizen. Grogu, that's why he didn't want to train with Ahsoka. Anyway, so he was taken at the end of the Clone Wars. He was hidden, but he said he was taken from the Jedi Temple, and after that his memories become dark. Who took him? We already know, and this is something our friend Brian from Pink Milk, it's been on it. He said, what about Cat Bane? We know that Cat Bane had infiltrated the Jedi Temple before, I believe, infiltrated the Senate. He took Palpatine once. He was looking either for Force-sensitive children or the holocron with information. So did he go back? So Brian from Pink Milk has been saying a lot of times, we know that the Empire wants Baby Yoda for something for those midi-chlorians or M-counts. Is Cat Bane still involved in this? I said season 1 when episode 5, the Gunslinger happened. I love Boba Fett. You can say I've seen it. Probably say here every episode, my favorite character. But yes, who took him from the temple? Who took Grogu from the Jedi Temple? Here we go. I'm dropping again. Cat Bane has to be Cat Bane. Cat Bane has to be that gunslinger, that the mysterious person, the stranger from the end of the Gunslinger episode in season 1. What I was getting at, even though Boba Fett is my favorite character and I wanted Boba Fett to be that stranger, I would be 100% more excited if it was Cat Bane. That's a character that we need to see. He's the actual gunslinger. He has the whole big fedora hat or that cowboy 10-gallon hat. He had the chaps. He had that big coat. So it makes more sense that Cat Bane is the gunslinger. Now we have another connection. Is he the one that took him from the temple? Is he then hired by Moff Gideon or by anyone? Hey, I need you to find the child. He's tracking now Din Djarin. We saw him at the end of that episode where Fennec Shand is. We believe Fennec Shand is going to come back. So yes, I do believe now, or my percentage is going up in that Cat Bane is that stranger, is that gunslinger, and that we're going to see him by the end of this season. I think Mando goes back to Tatooine at some point, and Cat Bane is going to be there. I don't know if he's going to be part of the story to end this season, or he's just going to show up at the end and he's going to be one of the antagonists for season 3. At some point, the Baby Yoda being chased by the Empire by others has to come to an end. But bringing in Cat Bane as this gunslinger, bounty hunter, connection to Boba Fett, connection to the Empire, stealing records from the Jedi Temple, now wanting to take a baby from the Jedi Temple to deliver to the Empire, to Moff Gideon, to Thrawn, to whoever, makes a lot of sense. Give me Cat Bane. I love Boba Fett going on the first episode of this season. I don't need to see him again if that means you're gonna give me Cat Bane 2 episodes from now. So yes, that's what I really want. So did Cat Bane take him from that temple? I'm gonna put my money down and say yes, it was Cat Bane. Ooh, I need a drink after that. I'm sorry, Tony. I'll tease it. I'm putting my money down. That's my call, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing it out there. But it was Cat Bane. That's gonna again. This series, especially this season, has shown us that none of those characters are out of the question. So it can happen, and it can be done great. Cobb Vanth was done great. Bo-Katan was done great. Ahsoka Tano, I know there were some issues. Is she the character that we grew up with? I think it is. I think she was done great. Cat Bane can be done great also. I'm here for it. So hopefully we'll get it. All right. We also have Ahsoka saying, oh, he's lost. He's lonely. He hides his powers just not to cause any trouble. And this is where Djarin comes in, that familial attachment. He doesn't feel lonely anymore. He has a fatherly figure. Again, I go back to Brian at Pink Mill. He's sending a lot of shows that I've been with him. He's saying it afterwards. It's Baby Yoda, Grogu is a child of trauma. He's been coming from trauma. We just saw it here. They told us it's a traumatic effect what happened obviously in Order 66, and after being taken on so many years, to form that connection and give that trust to someone takes a lot of time, and he built it with Djarin. He doesn't talk. We've seen people, if you follow a lot of the same mutuals on Twitter, they say that's children from trauma. They stop talking because that's a way to protect themselves. So all that is here, and we just learned that. Again, another first, we learned the backstory of Grogu, of Baby Yoda, and it hits a lot of those points that Brian was saying before. So here, Brian, tip of the cap to you. I think you nailed it on the head. And yeah, I'm here for it. And he's starting to build that relationship. He doesn't have that with Ahsoka, again, because he was trained by Mace Windu, and he knows that Ahsoka is a citizen, not an actual Jedi, and that's why he didn't have that connection with her. But then Ahsoka said, no, come on, he has that connection with you. Let's see what you can do. And he brings out the little silver knob that he took from the ship that we know Baby Yoda loves so much. He uses the Force pulls that towards him, and Mando, he's getting again that fatherly figure. He was a very proud papa. So here we go. So now it's Dean becoming again this father figure. So he goes over, yeah, kid, great job. Did you see that? I know you could do it. It's like a dad or a mom seeing their kid hit a baseball on a baseball game, those Pee-wee leagues for the first time. I knew you could do it. Did you see that? Yeah, it went over the fence, even if it just rolled 2 or 3 feet. We're so proud when they accomplished that. That was Mando. That was Din Djarin at that moment. He was a proud dad, seeing his son accomplish something that he didn't think he was going to be able to do. So it was a great moment. Before that, when this scene is going on with Ahsoka connecting with Grogu, you see Din Djarin in the background pacing back and forth, which I've been there. If your your kid is talking to a teacher or to a coach or to another parent talking about something, you're in the background. You're pacing back and forth. You don't know what's going on. And that was Din again. So yeah, Dale, you're saying Cat Bane did get into the temple, but I don't know the timeline well enough to know when he was killed, and I don't remember who killed him. You're saying that Cat Bane died? The only thing I've seen, I don't know how canon it is because it's one of those unfinished scripts from the Clone Wars, was that confrontation between Cat Bane and Boba Fett. Both of them shoot. Boba Fett gets the dent on his helmet, and I think you see Cat Bane's hat spinning on the dusty grounds of Tatooine or something like that. To me, that's not canon, and it can be retconned pretty easily. I don't think in canon we've actually seen Cat Bane die, and I hope that it's not, at least not yet. All right, so then Ahsoka tells Din Djarin, hey, I can't train him. I sense much fear in him. a lot of dark. He's formed this attachment to you, and I know what attachment does to the best of us when combined with fear of loss. Tears, Anakin Skywalker. It's we know who she's talking about and what it does to a Jedi to form those attachments when you have fear, anger, darkness inside you, and you don't want to lose your that person who created that attachment towards. What it can do to you on the other end, especially if you're trained in the Force. Is that gonna come to play later on in the season or in the series? Most likely, we're gonna see him do some dark stuff. We saw him in season one where he force chokes Cara Dune when she thinks that when she's sparring with Mando, he force chokes her because, oh, you're hurting my dad. At that point, just this person is starting to grow an attachment towards. By now, anyone attacking Mando, he's gonna go ape. So I think there's gonna be some dog stuff coming for little Grogi, in a little few. So she says, I can train him. He has formed this connection with you. So sorry, we'll have to figure something out. And that's when he goes and helps her out. And then he convinces her, hey, we made a promise. I help you out. I'm gonna go get him. And then he goes to the Razor Crest to pick Baby Yoda up. He's sleeping in his little swing and he says, okay, kid, or okay, it's time to go. Or it's time to say goodbye. And then I love this. Again, that parent in me, when he's just sitting there, he picks him up and he's just sitting there laying with his back to the Razor Crest. We don't know how. He was there for hours. Yeah, it's time to say goodbye. He wasn't ready to say goodbye. He was holding him there for hours probably, that Ahsoka Tano had to go to him. He didn't make it back to town. He was still inside the Razor Crest holding Grogu because he wasn't ready to let go. Is it ever going to happen? I don't know. But again, yes, Baby Yoda has formed an attachment with Djarin, but Djarin has also formed a big attachment to little Grogu. That is going to be hard if they ever have to say goodbye. So again, Ahsoka says, I can train him, but take him to the planet Tython, and there's an old Jedi temple there. I believe Tython is a planet from the old expanded universe or legends. That was one of the first Jedi temples was there. So again, bringing stuff from the expanded universe into canon now. Go to Tython. There's an old Jedi temple. Place it on the top of the mountain or on the Seeing Stone, and let him choose his path. We'll talk about what that means in a second. Let him choose his path, reach out to the Force, and maybe another Jedi will sense him and come looking for him. So yeah, and that's basically the end of the episode. What's going to happen next? There's a lot of things that got set up, and let's go through them. So when Ahsoka says, put him on the Seeing Stone and let him choose his path. So his path, I believe, it's either go to be a Jedi or stay with Djarin. It's not a path of light or dark side. It's choose your path if you want to become a Jedi or you want to stay with Djarin. I think at this point he wants to stay with Mando. We'll see by the time they get to Tython. That I don't think that's going to be this season. That's going to be further on, next year most likely, that he gets to Tython and that happens. Reaches out with the Force and maybe another Jedi senses him and comes looking for him. She says there's not a lot of Jedi left. We know so who's out there that we know of. So we have Luke Skywalker, obviously. We have Quinlan Vos, I believe. Someone mentioned that Quinlan Vos might be around. Excuse me. Ezra Bridger, that she's still looking for. So I don't know if that's going to come into play, but we do have Ezra. We have Cal Kestis from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. A lot of people didn't mention this. We still have Yaddle. Yaddle is still out there. So I know people got angry because she says, I only know one other being from this species, Yoda. She didn't mention Yaddle. She never met Yaddle. I know. But Yaddle might be out there. Yaddle might sense Baby Yoda. Michael, you're saying she doesn't say another Jedi. She says Jedi. Because she's not a Jedi. Yeah, we don't know if she still considers herself a Jedi or not. She didn't say. I'm sure. I know we were all waiting when Mando said, "I was sent here to find a Jedi." She doesn't say, "I'm not a Jedi," so maybe she does consider herself a Jedi at this point. We'll see, but we don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of different Jedi that might come and find him, or maybe if he reaches out with through the Force, we also know the dark side might sense him. We have Snoke at this point. The Emperor is playing around with clones and doing his weird stuff. Ben Solo is being tempted by no. Ben Solo's not alive at this point. He's not alive yet. That doesn't happen yet. Or is he again? Timelines with me. I don't think he's alive. I think it's 6 years after. Anyway, the dark side is out there, so who knows if it's someone from the dark side that senses him through the Force. So what's set up for future content, either here for next episodes, next seasons of The Mandalorian, or for Star Wars going forward? So Ahsoka, let's start with Ahsoka as we wrap this episode up. Will we see Ahsoka again on The Mandalorian? I'm gonna say no. I think we saw Ahsoka already. She got a whole episode to herself. I don't think we're seeing Ahsoka, at least on this season. I don't think Ahsoka's coming back. Now it's just Mando, Grogu, Moff Gideon. We have Bo-Katan still in play with the Darksaber. I think those are going to be our main ones going forward. I don't think we see Ahsoka anymore this season, at least for The Mandalorian. When we see Ahsoka again, is it going to be live action, her own show, which were a rumor, or is it going to be that live action Rebel sequel? I've always said that if you were going to go through the challenges of bringing Ahsoka to live action with Rosario Dawson as the person leading the character, and a lot of people wanted, a lot of people wanted Ashley Eckstein. But if you're going to go through all the trouble of bringing her to live action, to just go and then her future is going to be in live action. After watching this year, especially that first time that I watched it, I thought that she belongs more on animation and to give us that animated Rebel sequel. After watching the episode 2 or 3 times, I'm still kind of debating. I did love her afterwards in live action, so it does make sense to keep going this way because that's where Disney Plus is going. But I do think that this character might serve itself better as a animated character. But a lot of it depends on the story, so I'm still debating. So if you guys let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat, send me a message on Twitter. What do you think? Are we gonna see Ahsoka again on live action, or is her future in animation? Cat Bane, we talked a little bit about Cat Bane already. I believe that he's gonna make his live action debut this season, either just at the end, like season one ended with Moff Gideon coming out of that TIE fighter with that Darksaber. I think this season is gonna end with Cat Bane alongside Fennec Shand on Tatooine, seeing either Boba Fett or Mando leaving. I think Cat Bane is gonna make his debut at the end of this season. Will we see a young Luke Skywalker being the Jedi that finds Grogu or senses Grogu? Are we going to see Thrawn in Mandalorian? He was mentioned already. Where's your master? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? I'm going to say no on Thrawn. I think this was, as they say, a backdoor pilot to the next Ahsoka series or the Rebel series looking for Ezra and Thrawn. I think this was a way to get everyone to think about that name and, oh, Thrawn, who's that? Let me find out. And for us to know, yeah, they're thinking about Thrawn. This is where we're going next. I don't think we see Thrawn in Mandalorian, at least not this season. A young Luke Skywalker, maybe. I'm still gonna say no. I don't think we'll see Luke Skywalker or any other Jedi come looking for baby Grogu. And this is the last question: Is Moff Gideon still gonna be? Is he gonna lose the Darksaber by the end of the season, but gain Baby Yoda? And that's the way that season ends. We have either Din Djarin with his staff, his Beskar staff, fighting Moff Gideon and the Darksaber, and beats Moff Gideon, takes the Darksaber away, but in between he gets a hold of Grogu and leaves. And then Mando has to get his crew together to go find him. This is when he goes to that Tatooine, get Cobb Vanth. Who knows if he gets Boba Fett, and this is where we see Cat Bane. oh, what's gonna happen? Something has to happen. I think the dark saber it's done by the end of this season, and that's gonna be out of the way. Is it that Djarin gives Bo-Katan the Beskar staff to fight Moff Gideon and the dark saber, and in all of this, maybe Moff Gideon takes Baby Grogu. We don't know. So I do think that by the end of the season, they're gonna be separated. Din Djarin and Grogu are gonna be separated, and that's gonna be what's gonna lead season 3. Because I think the dark saber with Bo-Katan showing up, I think the dark saber ends by the end of this season, and maybe it's a double cross that Bo-Katan double crosses Din Djarin and gives Baby Yoda. Is something that people have been saying earlier. I don't think this is going to happen, but I do think that Baby Grogu is going to go with Moff Gideon at the end somehow, but the dark saber is going to be removed from the equation. So yes, what do you guys think about all this? It's so much. Again, an hour and 50 minutes. We can keep talking about this. It was another great episode, The Mandalorian. A lot of people are hailing this as their favorite of the series, the season. I'm still my second one, but going up there. Seeing Ahsoka again Ahsoka for the first time in live action is a great accomplishment. Everything that got set up going forward, everything we've learned about Baby Yoda, now his name, his gender, where he came from, his background, and a little bit of how to get into his future. It's great information that pushes the characters and the story forward, while at the same time setting up Thrawn and other Jedis, and maybe the Rebel sequel or Ahsoka live action show. Is Thrawn gonna show up? Is Cat Bane? It's Ezra gonna be in play? What's going on? There's so much that happened in this episode that moves the story plus sets up 20 different things that they did a great job. Again, hats off to Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, everyone involved in this series. And with that, we'll call it quits. Great episode today. Great show. Thank you guys. Mr. Rez, Celestial Scrum, Kat, Michael, Dale, everyone that stuck it up. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I'll cut that part out for the podcast. Probably not. It's funny. Just I'll make mistakes. My kids ask me to, do you make mistakes during your podcast? All the time. And what do you do? Nothing. It happens. That's what happens when you do live shows. Wouldn't take it any other way. So thank you guys again. Don't forget to like this video if you're watching it for the first time or for the second time. Make sure to subscribe also. Leave a comment if you're watching this later on the replay. And if you're listening to the audio podcast, make sure to subscribe to us. Leave us a rate. Leave us a review. We do love seeing those. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Radio Rebel Pod. You can also send us an email at radiorebelpod@gmail.com if you want to send us a longer message. If you're listening to the audio podcast, make sure you're following us on YouTube. Just search for Radio Rebellion Podcast. You'll see us there, trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year if we can. If not, that's fine. It doesn't matter. What else? If you want to listen to this on the audio podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Google, Podchaser, everywhere that you can find podcasts. I try to be smarter than the average Ewok. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we try. Those Ewoks, I don't like them anyways. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. Like I said, thanks again. Happy holidays. The holiday season is officially starting, right? Black Friday's out of the way. Thanksgiving's out of the way. We all had our fill, and we're getting there now. Christmas is coming. Next week, we'll review, of course, the chapter 14 of The Mandalorian. Plus, we'll do our review, our look back at Empire Strikes Back. We'll do that next week. So as always, thank you guys for joining. Thank you. Stay safe, be safe, and may the force be with you.